Hello and welcome to Ask Coach Cam. I'm just checking that we're all live and set up. I thought we'd go something a bit different today, go to the whiteboard, just because today I asked all of you out there, what's your biggest barrier when it comes to fat loss and losing weight? And to be honest, a lot of the responses I got were really about traditional forms of dieting. And so I thought I'd come out here and sort of, like I say, go back to the drawing board. Let's go and have a look and see kind of what makes, number one, the 1% way a bit different, and number two, why we find those traditional forms of dieting difficult. Okay, just check. Yeah, you can all hear me okay, good. So yeah, without further ado, let's kind of get into it and go to the whiteboard. So this happy little character, this is you, okay? You. Or anyone. It doesn't have to be particularly you. I don't know you personally and your story. I'm kind of talking on the macro scale. But this is someone who they've gained a bit of a belly. There we go, we're giving them a bit of a belly there. They've gained a bit of a belly and they've decided, you know what? I need to change this, I need to go on a diet, and I need to sort this out, which is a good first step. But then what we do is the journey that we go on. This is the classical journey. So what we do is we go on a heavily restrictive diet. Plus exercise we hate. Okay, so for some of you, this is going to be pounding the pavements and going out running, even though you hate running. For some of you, it might be working the gym. You hate the gym, but you go anyway, because this is what we've decided. We need to get rid of this belly, and we need to go on a heavily restricted diet and exercise we hate. But what happens when we do this? Well, heavily restricted diet, you know, we say things, we have phrases like, oh, sorry, I can't eat that today, or sorry, I can't go out, I'm on a diet, I can't do this, I can't do that. What happens when we do this? And kind of the same with exercise, well, I've just got to do it. And so we're heavily reliant. So this is all reliant on motivation. Okay, and we can think of motivation as a tank or a meter, and motivation is a finite resource. We only have a certain amount in the tank, so when this gets to zero, we say fudge it, trying to avoid cussing, fudge it, I'm going to have a pizza, I'm going to have whatever I've been craving, and maybe we even go a bit wild and just start eating like crazy, or we just stop doing the exercise that we were going to do, okay? And that happens more and more over time, and the longer we go for, okay? And this is what we used to, and then when motivation runs out, or we get to the end, okay, we say, I'm going to diet for 6-8 weeks. But because we're on a heavily restrictive diet, you know, we can't eat certain foods, there has to be an end, right? You have to go to the pub at some point, you know, you have to go out and be able to eat a meal, you have to be able to live your life. And if we're doing exercise we hate, you know, at some point you're going to want to stop that. So whether it's motivation or whether you just reach the end, there is an end. And maybe you've been semi-successful. And this is you with, let's go reduced belly. So there you go, you've got your reduced belly over there, and we're like, yay! And this is also another reason why motivation runs out, okay? When we look at ourselves in the mirror here, and we go, oh God, we start to think all those negative things, we start to think, oh, I don't like the way I look in this, I don't like the way I look in that, and then we have some success, okay? And we go, oh, you know what, I look better in this stuff. It reduces your motivation. You're less motivated because this is what you're motivated by, and as soon as this starts to go away, we're obviously going to reduce that motivation. Okay, so we end up here. There is an end. This is the end of the diet. The problem with this is you end up right back here. Another 6 to 8 weeks later. And this is 6 to 8 weeks. Okay? If that, okay, the studies out there, the one I like to use, just because it's the most illustrative, is Strava when it comes to New Year's resolutions. Our New Year's resolutions last 19 days. The 19th of January is when most people give up on doing that restrictive exercise that they hate, okay? They give up after 19 days and never touch the app again. So it's actually potentially much less than 6 to 8 weeks. And as you can see, what we've created is just a cycle. We've got a cycle where we've put on some weight, 6 to 8 weeks, restrictive diet, exercise we hate, it's all reliant on motivation. We get to the end, and then after another 6 to 8 weeks, we go back here and we create a cycle, and we just go round and round the cycle, okay? And how many of you have been through this cycle, and how many of you get to the end, and maybe your motivation's run out, and you're sort of like, you know, you're sitting around, after the 6 to 8 weeks, you get back to this, and you're like, don't worry, I'll just be more motivated this time. And you do it again. How many of you have said that? Don't worry, I'll just be more motivated next time. Motivation is rubbish. We want to get rid of this out of the equation first and foremost. If we're heavily reliant on motivation, that's not to say motivation doesn't have a role to play, but if we're heavily reliant on motivation, we're always going to fail and we're always going to go through this cycle. And we're going to go round and round. And if I was to draw a graph over time of what this looks like, okay, starting to run out of space down here, but we'll go down here. If I was to draw a graph of this, okay, this is weight, and this is time, and now we're talking long term, okay, this is 1 to 2 months, 1 to 2 months, so we're talking over the period of quarters, years, things like that. So let's say you start off up here. You go on a diet, and you've lost some weight, and you're now down here. Then we give up on our diet, we start eating normally again, we start going back to all of those old bad habits, okay? And then we come around, we're back up here. More likely than not, you'll actually put on more weight than where you started from. And as we can see, if we extrapolate this graph out, over time, that peak weight there is just going to go up. If you're lucky, it's going to stay the same, okay? But more likely than not, over time, so we're talking over years, that weight is going to go up. You're going to have periods where you lose weight and you feel really good, periods where you gain weight. And this is why it's called yo-yo dieting, because we've just got this up, down, up, down, up, down diet all the way through, okay? And this is what most of your questions pertain to. How do I stick to a diet? You're doing a heavily restrictive diet. How do I keep doing exercise? You hate exercise, okay? There's a better way. So let's start with you. Okay. So we'll get rid of all this. This is traditional dieting, the way we've all been taught, okay? If you just restrict your diet and do more exercise, you'll lose fat. It's not incorrect, but we're not doing it in the most efficient way. If I was to draw that graph again, okay, and I say, wouldn't this be a better graph? Weight, starting weight, time, wouldn't that be better? Okay, if we lose weight, and then we get to a goal here, and then we can switch things up, and we can go into maintenance. Now, we're talking a much longer period of time. It's not as sexy, okay? When we're making these kind of changes, we're not seeing, if you remember, that first result, if I draw it as a dotted line, was like this. If we're going to make our graph look like this, at this point, this person looks like they've lost way more weight than you have. And this is why sustainable dieting is not as sexy, okay? It's a bit harder to sell, okay? But if we can make the graph look like this over time, that is obviously, clearly better, okay? And it might even be bumpy, all right? So it might not be as nice and smooth as that. It might still be like this. Maybe we get, but it's still, when we draw an average, we've got a nice downward trend over time. How do we do that? Okay, for starters, if we're not setting this ridiculous goal, we're not going, oh, I want to lose 10 pounds in 4 weeks, okay? No ridiculous goals. We're looking at that progress over time. We're looking to form those habits that are going to get us to this point, okay? That nice, steady fat loss over time. And so when we transfer that into our diet, we go, okay, so what I need to do is I need to just start eating healthier. I need to just start exercising more. Okay? And the 1% way is all about what are you doing now, so we're not competing against anyone else, we're not comparing ourselves against anyone else, it's what are you doing right now. If it's sat on the couch, what gives you the audacity to think that you can go to athlete level training and train 6 days a week? Why do you think that? That is obviously going to fail. Okay, you haven't built up the habits, you haven't done the same training over the same amount of years that those people have done it for. You are competing against you. This is you. Okay, I cannot stress that enough. This is you. Okay, and we just need to eat healthier. So what is healthier? Well, to start with, maybe instead of eating takeaway food every night, we eat a home-cooked meal every night. Now that home-cooked meal doesn't even have to be that healthy for it to be healthier. It's that healthier on the end. Okay, we can all be healthier. Ideally, 1% healthier. Okay, what small change can you make to be 1% healthier? Okay, if your tea, if you let's take a person and say, you know what, I have a pretty good breakfast, pretty good lunch. It all starts to go to hell when I get into the evening. I eat a 1,500 calorie tea, and then I have a bag of M&Ms. Okay, we're eating 2,000 calories in the evening, and we're not really moving when we get home. We're sat on the couch. Okay, that's a oven pizza and a bag of M&Ms. 2,000 calories in the evening. What does 1% look like? 1,000. Oh God, I'm going to really mess up my maths here. 980 kilocalorie. On the first day of your quote-unquote diet, can you eat that instead of that? You only have to eat probably 2 less M&Ms. Easy. Easy. And then we keep eating healthier. But not only that, we have healthier habits. So again, when we say habits, habits is not what a lot of these people talk about, where we're working, you know, people say working out 3 times a week is a habit. No, it's not. That's not a habit. Think of other habits. Think of bad habits, okay? Biting your nails, smoking. They're automatic. They're virtually automatic. Something can just set them off and it happens and you do it, okay? When we were talking before about the kind of doing more exercise and things like that, and not having that basis formed, those habits formed, number one, if you're going from 0 to working out 6 times a week, you're gonna find that hard. That's gonna be hard. It's unsurprisingly hard, okay? Because you've not built up your aerobic capacity, body's not conditioned to that level of work. To be honest, you're probably heading for injury, okay? And it's kind of the same methodology when we get into diet, okay? How do we build habits? How do we build automatic processes? What automatic processes can we build in that help us eat healthier, okay? And what does that look like? So I use the example of a home-cooked meal. That's a pretty tough habit to build. There's a lot of people out there who work a lot of hours, and the 1% way is all about busy people. We're busy. It's genuinely hard to cook for yourself sometimes. But cooking for yourself can be a good habit to build. And if we're cooking for ourselves and we get a slightly better meal, let's say instead of that takeaway pizza, the first step we make, so instead of takeaway pizza, I'm not going to write it on there, but instead of takeaway pizza, instead of that being 1,500 kilocalories, we go, okay, a bottle of Dolmio and some pasta. Okay, and we cut that down to 1,000 calories. Great, fantastic. And that's how we start building a habit also of cooking for ourselves. If cooking for ourselves becomes automatic, then we're going to find it easier to eat much healthier meals. Again, what gives you the audacity, if you've not been doing it already, you've been ordering takeaways, what gives you the audacity to think you go from 0 to eating home-cooked meals every night? It's an almost impossible goal that you're setting yourself, and that's why we fail. That's why we go round and round the cycle in the first example. Okay, so we want to build healthier eating habits, and again, this is the same at work. A great example is I had a client who was talking about, you know what, I just can't stop having my 3 p.m. snack. You know, I have my breakfast and my lunch, and I just get real hungry around 3 p.m. I'm really struggling to cut it out, because that was his initial goal, was to cut it out. And it was sort of like, why are you cutting it out? What's your snack? You know, something not great for you, bag of crisps, something like that. And it's like, well, number one, that snack isn't very filling, so you probably snack again before you get on the train home, something like that. Number two, yeah, it's not that healthy. Just improve the snack. You don't have to get rid of the snack. You just have to make that 1% change to the snack and make it better. And maybe we can cut out the snack altogether once we've built those habits, once it becomes less important. We've actually, especially when it comes to snacking, a lot of time our body has a very accurate internal clock. And the reason we always feel hungry at 3 p.m. is because we always eat at 3 p.m., okay? And we have to undo that habit. You don't just undo the habit just by stopping it. You undo it by making those 1% changes and gradually reducing it, okay? So can we reduce that 1%? Can we reduce that snack? Can we make it an apple? Maybe eat more calories at 3 p.m. and eat fewer in the evening, okay? There's so many different ways to approach eating healthier and trying to reduce that calorie count. If we start looking at it in this way, there's so many more solutions than just I'll cut it out and I'll be better tomorrow, which is frankly useless. Okay, and then we've got the same thing with exercise. Okay, daily average. How much do you work out? Well, sometimes I go in the gym once a week. So we're talking, you know, a 300 calorie workout spread out over 7 days. So our daily average is pretty low. You know, sort of like 50 calories a day. Can we make that 100 calories a day? What does that look like? And instead of doing something that we hate, which is the reason we're only doing it once a week, instead of doing something we hate, can we do 100 kilocalories as something that we actually enjoy? And that could look like going for a walk in the sun. It's beautiful outside right now. It could look like going and play tennis. Okay, you burn off a lot more than 100 kilocalories. That 100 kilocalorie difference can look like so many things. We don't have to go and kill ourselves in the gym to lose fat, okay? And if we look at another graph, so I'll go another colour. What colour should we go? Let's go orange. So if I draw you another beautiful graph, okay, we've got calories here. And we've got, I don't know what along the bottom axis. And we've got calories in and calories out. We're just going bar graph. So we've got in, out, and our calories in is 2,500. Okay, and if we're gaining weight, our calories out might be 2,400. 2,500, 2,400. That is a difference of 100 kilocalories. Over time, you're going to put on fat. That's how we put on fat. We're not expending as many calories as we're consuming in. How easy is it to change this? Well, to go to maintenance. So if we say, okay, now let's make those calories equal. Those calories equal each other. What's going to happen then? The laws of energy conservation, nothing. There's equal energy in and equal energy out. We're not going to lose any fat. We're also not going to gain any fat because we're using everything that we're eating. Okay? So that 100 kilocalorie difference, that can be the difference between gaining fat and losing fat. Okay? And we've really not changed that much. We've just eaten 100 calories less. That's it. We've not even exercised more. Okay? For some people, this is a bit more drastic. But even 200 calories, okay? We looked at what 100 kilocalories looks like. Difference. If your difference is 500 kilocalories, all you have to do is cut out 250 from your diet, 250 kilocalories. And for reference, that is a grab bag of Walker's crisps. That's it. That's all you have to cut out. Okay? And exercise 250 calories more. That way, we've then reversed that 500 kilocalorie surplus that we were in, and we're now back at maintenance. And 250 calories, again, for reference, is like a 40-minute walk, something like that. That's it. That's all you have to do extra that day than what you were doing originally. Okay? So that's what that looks like. When we go on an extreme diet, what we do is we massively increase our calories out. So we're doing 2,400, just kind of milling about our day. We try and kill ourselves, doing a 600 kilocalorie workout, and we work out and we do 300 kilocalories. Okay? And then we go on a really restrictive diet. We take ourselves down to 1,500 calories. We are now in a deficit between our in and out of 1,500 kilocalories. You will lose fat to start with, but very slowly your body will adapt, because not only are you consuming too few calories for your workout, so your body's going to adapt food-wise, slow your metabolism right down to make use of that food because it's not sufficient, okay? We're also going to kill ourselves doing this, get close to injury, especially if we're not used to it, all that kind of stuff. This is highly unsustainable, and this is what we do. This is what happens when people go to work and eat salads and they try and go for a run every day. This is what you're doing. This is how ridiculous it looks. It looks stupid, okay? Again, the laws of energy conservation. If you need to lose fat, you can be in a 1 kilocalorie deficit, because kilocalories is a measure of energy. That's what it is. Some of you, I feel, don't quite get that kilocalories is a measure of energy, okay? You only need to be in a deficit of 1 kilocalorie a day to lose fat, okay? Because of the laws of energy conservation, that energy has to come from somewhere. If it doesn't come from your food, it comes from your fat storage. You will lose fat. So we can be in a 100 kilocalorie deficit and look like this graph, okay? 100 kilocalorie deficit, nice and easy, okay? Over time, we might want to increase that, the 1% improvement, and we're going to try and increase that calorie deficit to no more than 500 kilocalories, okay? If you're more than 500 kilocalorie deficit between your in and out, that's too big. That's extreme dieting, okay? Anywhere between 1 and 500, I'd say, is a more sustainable diet. And again, I've kind of used diet and extreme dieting almost interchangeably, and I apologize for that. It is it's just an unfortunate thing with the diet industry, because diet also quite often to me just means the food that you eat. It's the food consumed, whereas a diet to a lot of people, and the way a lot of people talk about it, also means going on a heavily restrictive diet, okay? But yeah, this is our calories in, calories out. And when we get to the end of this little graph here, our little man, this is you. Happy, healthy, okay? Not only have you got a much smaller belly, okay? So let's say this is after 10 weeks. Not only have we got a much smaller belly, okay, we found ways to eat healthier. Okay, some of those issues associated with obesity, such as like high cholesterol, all that kind of stuff, when it comes down to our diet, we've cut some of those really bad foods out. And not that there are bad and good foods, but we've reduced our intake of them, let's say, by eating healthier. So we feel healthier, we've probably got a bit more energy. And as well, when it comes to activity, so again, I'm using the word activity, not exercise, because that is 100 kilocalories of extra activity. It's 100 kilocalories of extra movement, any movement, okay? Anything. You can dance, you can go sword fighting, you can do whatever the hell you want. That is 100 kilocalories of anything, but that's the change we're making, okay? And when we do that and when we move more, again, we feel happier, we feel healthier, we probably have more energy, we feel more energized. A lot of the time, if your 100 kilocalories is a walk, something like that, we might experience things like better mental health, and we know that as well from losing fat and exercising and eating healthier, that improves our mental health and all those kind of things. So all these things are improving over time. So instead of getting the end, running out of motivation, feeling drained, feeling tired, and coming back around here, we're feeling good, we're feeling happy, and we want to continue doing these things. It's not we get to the end and it's like, oh yeah, I can eat all the pizza I want and drink all the beers I want. Okay, we're not getting to the end again. It's the end. We're here and we're going, you know what, I think I can make some more changes. I feel happy, I feel good. And that's how we do this, okay? It's about healthier and more activity rather than exercise, okay, for a lot of people. And losing fat can look really simple. Like I said before, it can look really incredibly simple. It can be going for a walk and cutting out a bag of crisps, and that makes all the difference. And so we don't have to go extreme, eat a single peanut for breakfast and a tiny salad for lunch, and to be honest, usually what happens then is people snack really heavily in the evenings. They eat so little during the day, okay? And we can make all of these decisions, all these healthier decisions based on what our day looks like. So if our lunch does look really bad, maybe we cut a few things out there, but we don't need to go mental, okay? We don't need to go absolutely head first into only eating salads and all that kind of stuff. It's not even really necessarily going to do that, especially people that only eat leafy salads. It's really not going to do that much for you, okay? We can make those small, simple changes, those 1% changes. We're going to feel happier, we're going to feel better, and that's how I've lost 20 kilos so far as well. So you can take it from me, and I just want to keep improving and keep doing better and keep refining my method and my system. Same goes for my clients, and I hope my random scribblings on the whiteboard has helped you think about things maybe in a different way, all that kind of good stuff. But I've been prattling on for a while now. That's enough from me. Please, please, please let me know what you think in the comments. I want to hear feedback. I want to hear whether this has made you think differently, whether I'm totally wrong and you completely disagree. Let me know, talk to me in the comments, and I'll be back here with Ask Coach Cam live, same time, same place. Goodbye.